So, good day everyone. I'm Ethan, moderator for this webinar. Welcome everyone for today's webinar, Understanding Excel's Basic Formulas and Functions. I'd now like to introduce our presenter for today, Kathy Horvitz. Kathy has over 30 years of experience in the classroom and virtual training and has been an instructor of Microsoft Office since 1989. I would now like to hand over the floor to the speaker. Over to you, Kathy.
Thank you, Ethan, and thank you for that wonderful introduction. Hi, everyone. My name is Kathy Horowitz, and I'm very pleased to be here with all of you today. Our topic today is exploring Excel's basic formulas and functions. We'll be talking about the rules for formulas, the mathematical order of operation when it comes to creating formulas, and we'll talk about how we use cell referencing in formulas rather than the actual values. We'll do some basic calculations, and then we'll introduce functions. We'll look at some of the basic statistical functions today, like sum and average, max, min, and count. We'll talk about using Autofill as an easy way to copy formulas. And we'll learn the difference between a relative and an absolute cell reference. These topics are all the building blocks necessary for creating any type of mathematical formula or function in Excel. Everything that we learn today provides those basic building blocks. Let's go through the rules for formulas first. Formulas always begin with an equal sign, and that's how Excel knows that you're calculating. There are no spaces in formulas. The uppercase of your number 5 key is the percent symbol, and the uppercase of your number 6 key looks like a little upside down V. It's called a caret symbol, and it's used for exponents. We also have to be aware of the mathematical order of operations. So we follow the mathematical order of operations while we're in Excel, and that is that anything in parentheses will be calculated first, followed by anything calculating exponentially, and then note that we do any multiplication and division first, followed by addition and subtraction. Let's try a few basic calculations. And I want to add up the 4 sales values. Now, when we calculate in Excel, we reference the cells, not the values. Net revenue is going to be calculated by taking the sales values and subtracting from that the expenses. Remember that if you click on a cell containing a formula, you'll see the formula on the formula bar, while the cell itself shows you the answer. A function is a word that tells Excel what to do with a group of cells, followed by the function's name, and then in parentheses what Excel calls arguments. The arguments are the cells to be calculated. Sum the values in cells A1 through A80, and these are the most commonly used statistical functions. To verify that's the function that I want, we can single click on any one of these and get a definition of what they do. Take a look at the average definition. We're going to talk about copying formulas. And we copy formulas using a tool called Autofill. Now, Autofill continues patterns based on what was in the original cell. If you look in the lower right corner of that cell, there's a little box. When I put my mouse right on that box, my mouse becomes a black plus sign. I'm going to click and hold and drag down a few rows. And when I release, it's going to automatically fill those cells based on the original cell's pattern. And I get the days of the week, the months of the year rather. And beyond that, you can create any kind of a pattern that you want by starting with 2 or more cells. When we reference a cell in a formula, it's considered a relative cell reference. Now, if you have been copying and pasting formulas and it's been working, that's because copy and paste copies the pattern as well. An absolute reference is one that does not change when the formula is copied. Making a cell reference absolute makes it a constant. It doesn't change when the formula is copied. The way we make a reference absolute is with the use of dollar signs. And to avoid having to type the dollar signs manually, we use function key number 4 to insert them. So let's go back and review very quickly. We started by talking about the rules for formulas. We looked at the order of operations. So we follow the mathematical order of operations. We talked about if there were parentheses, how that would change. We talked about functions. Functions are a way to shorten up a formula when you're calculating large amounts of data, and all functions follow the same syntax. We looked at some of the basic statistical functions. We talked about autofill, copying formulas, and the difference between a relative reference and an absolute reference. There are over 450 functions. If I go to the formula ribbon in Excel, it puts me into what's called the function library. And the functions are divided into categories. As I point to each one, I don't even have to click. I get a definition of what it does. So start to work with these basic functions. Work your way into some others using the formula tab, looking at the function library. I want to thank everybody for attending today's webinar, and I'm very happy to have been able to share information with you today. I just want to thank everybody again for attending. So thank you for joining us. My name is Kathy Horwitz, and I look forward to seeing you in future webinars.
Thank you, Kathy. Does conclude the session for today. You may all disconnect now. Have a great day ahead. Bye-bye.